Someone decided to add a nice white decoration to my wedding dress, and by that, I mean either my fiance or his brother blew their load on my dress, and I'm going nuts trying to find the Seaman demon. I, 27F, really wish I was kidding. I spent today shopping, drinking hot chocolate and eating cookies with my sister. I wouldn't have believed anyone if they'd said this happened, so I won't be surprised if nobody believes me. It's stupid and it's disgusting and I'm still in shock. So today I went out to do some Christmas shopping with my sister, 18F. I live with my fiance, 26M, I'll call him James, so he was at home for the day. He works in healthcare, so he works 12 hours a day for 4 days, then gets 4 days off, then 12 hours at night for 4 days, and so on. Today was one of his days off, so his brother, 21M, I'll call him Dan, visited and they spent the day together. They don't usually spend time together. James is into computers and gaming, whereas Dan cares more about football than anything else. Not saying that to be derogatory, I get it, F1 is my life. They're just really different people and have never been close, which is why it was really nice for them to spend time together today while I was out with my sister. I got home at about 8 p.m. after having dinner with my sister and getting all of our Christmas shopping done. My Uncle Ray is a tailor, so he's been adjusting my dress, and he sent it back to me while I was out. James and I aren't really the traditional type, so he was at home to accept the dress from Ray and check it was okay. I really thought everything was fine, because James texted me when Ray visited, and he sent me a picture of it. We were both really excited. When I got home, however, Dan had left and James was slightly tipsy, which is totally fine. He rarely drinks, and he rarely sees his brother. James told me that the dress was beautiful and he couldn't wait to see me in it. I decided to try it on to check that it was fitted properly. I unzipped the bag, looked at it, and found a weird mark on the chest piece. The top part is a corset-style thing, and there's a crusty stain across it. I've seen my fair share of male sticky white stuff. I know what it is. I don't know whose it was. I'm not sure if I even care. I'm just disgusted. I don't want to touch it. I'm so humiliated that I don't want to tell anyone about it. I don't even know how to bring this up to James. I doubt it was him, which makes it worse because he doesn't have that close of a relationship with his brother, and that's the only other person it could have been. Unless other men were in our house. I can't go ruining my relationship with my in-laws before they're even in-laws. Dan is the golden child. He plays football for their hometown's team. He's my fiance's little brother. But I also can't afford a new dress. I found this one in a sale. What the hell do I do? Update 1. Okay, so it's been a hell of a few days. I genuinely did not expect this kind of response to my post. I'm so grateful for everyone who gave advice. I'm currently a bit drunk, very drunk, and very angry, absolutely fudging fuming. If I'm allowed to swear here, so's. I'm usually a really calm person, but today that calm person has gone on a dang holiday. Hopefully to a nice beach in Sydney. I've always wanted to go there. I used some of your responses to write a script that I could read to James. By that, I mean I wrote it, tried to memorize it, and completely forgot most of it. But I got the gist out, and there are a few things I wanted to let you all know that I addressed, both in the conversation and on my own. I also wanted to thank everyone who gave me advice on what to say to the guy I'm about to marry. It really helped me keep my cool. I was ready to take scissors to that dress and send it off for DNA testing. That's how badly I didn't want to have this conversation. These are the most important things I thought I should mention. 1. I asked James what he thought of the dress. He said he loved it and couldn't wait to see me walking down the aisle. Nothing suspicious, he was just excited. 2. I asked James how his evening with his brother went. I don't think anyone suggested this, but I thought that if anything happened and he knew about it, he'd tell me. We've been through a lot together and both know that honesty is the best policy. He said their evening went as well as it could have gone. His words, not mine. Dan drank a lot, but that's pretty normal for him. He tends to drink as much as he can put into his body, then throw up, then drink more. Fortunately, he didn't hork in our toilet. They got caught up, James told him about his new job, and Dan ended up telling him about the girls he's talking to at the moment. That conversation lasted about 2 hours. Unfortunately, this is relevant. 3. I did get a screenshot of the photo of my dress. I'm a concept artist, so I know my way around Photoshop. I managed to screw around with filters and adjustments enough to ensure that the dress was 100% clean when it was delivered. The splatter isn't in the picture. And it really is a splatter. 4. I then mentioned that I was about to try on the dress, but there was something on it and I didn't know what it was. I wanted James to take a look so he could help me figure out what it was, and where to get it dry cleaned. Before he'd even seen it, James was concerned and already asking if Ray and his husband would know someone who could help. 5. I asked James if Dan saw the dress in person. The answer was yes. James told Dan where the dress was, and Dan went alone to look at it while James was on the phone to our local Indian takeout while they were getting dinner. The one silver lining is that he saved me some cheesy naan bread. 6. I showed James the stain, and he quite literally went red. I've never seen him so angry before. Some choice words were said and I'd rather not repeat them. He spilled a lot about what Dan has been like in the past, and that info is also something I probably won't share unless it becomes extremely relevant. Conclusion: Dan rubbed one out on my fudging wedding dress. The splatter pattern looks like it. The substance looks like it. And, still wish I was unalive for doing this, it smells like it. I touched that with my bare hands. I really don't know what else to say now. I've been writing and rewriting this post since yesterday. Most of you were right, and I really wish you weren't. I wish someone had snot rocketed a huge sneeze onto it. I wish Uncle Ray had accidentally squirted mayo onto it while making his lunch. But I seriously don't think I can wear this dress now. It's absolutely beautiful and it was perfect and I felt so goddamn pretty. I was so pleased about the bargain I'd found. But Dan jizzed on it. A whole conversation happened between me and James that I'm too exhausted to remember and repeat, so I'll sum it up. He's furious and I'm furious. I don't even know if a wedding is happening anymore. Basically, James told me that the way Dan spoke about the women he'd been chatting to was abhorrent. There are 4 of them at the moment, and he's leading them all on because he wants to get laid. He said that he's in peak physical condition, he's conventionally attractive, and he's got a good job, so women should be fighting each other to get with him. He feels entitled to the affection of attractive women, including me. I feel like I'm going to hurl just typing that. I met this idiot when he was 14. I won't lie, Dan's in great shape. He has defined abs and trains every single day without fail. But that kind of body and that kind of lifestyle just isn't what I'm attracted to. I'd rather eat good food and play video games, if I'm honest. Apparently Dan is incredibly jealous that James managed to date someone like Callie, me, lol. I've always had a grossly effective metabolism. I don't work out, but I eat pretty healthily and go on a lot of walks. My parents live in a small village, so I go on walks with them so I can take pretty pictures and eat cheesy chips and a brownie from the little cafe at the end of the walk. Lamau. They make good brownies and the cheese on the chips is proper cheese, not plastic cheese. Meanwhile, James doesn't put effort into his physique, yet he managed to date me, who clearly puts so much effort into being beautiful. I don't. I don't wear makeup and I don't dress up. I haven't worn foundation since before the pandemic. James is in shape, mostly cause he rides a motorcycle and that surprisingly requires a lot of thigh muscle. Dan has supposedly always believed that I was better than James because my grades were better and I was in better shape, and that I'd break up with him and move on once I realized that I was wasting my time. Fat-fecking chance. James doesn't care about how fat/thin I am. I was horrendously underweight when I met him, but my butt and melons have always been too big for me. I've been cursed with my mom's hourglass figure. My back hates me for it. I know I've rambled a lot. Most of it was probably unnecessary, but it's felt good to get it out there. I also know a lot of you wanted an update. I know what Dan really thinks about me, and I'm still taking it in. I used to get along really well with him. I was never really into football, but I've always followed F1, which I know he kind of likes, and I support a local rugby league team, which I know he really likes. I don't know. I just thought we were friends. James sees my sister as his sister. She sees him as a brother. She's always been socially anxious, so to hear that for the first time actually made me cry. I also saw Dan as the brother I never had. I always wanted a brother. We bonded over sports the few times we spoke. I never realized he thought of me that way. I really thought we were brother and sister. What the heck do I do now? I obviously have a wedding to think about, but I don't even want to wear the dress. I don't even want the wedding anymore. If there's a wedding, Dan will be involved. James and I haven't even begun to consider what we'll tell both sets of parents. That's a whole other problem. And what the hell do I do about Dan? I want to stockpile my cat's poop and throw it through his bedroom window, but obviously I know that's not the right thing to do. Even if Hermes is having some awful smelling poops right now. Maybe his name is a sign Mamau. Maybe Hermes is the poop messenger. Update 2. I was way too cocky in my last post, I'll admit it. I was super drunk and super angry. I've never been fought over before. And my last post on RA hit the karma limit, so I'm posting here. I'm sorry if this update is boring, cause there aren't any fist fights or anything. I literally used to be unhealthy underweight and it was a huge problem. I've put a lot of effort into gaining weight whilst also staying moderately healthy. I'm a size 16 now and I have melons that give me so much back pain that I'm saving for a goddamn reduction. I really meant it when I said I was cursed. My mom has also had a breast reduction. I'm 5 feet 2 inches, so the big butt means I have to get all my genes adjusted cause I've got a chunky butt and tiny little legs. I didn't mean to come off braggy, 'cause it's really not fun or hugely attractive. I'm short and dumpy, but I'm proud, so I get a bit overly defensive. Sorry about that. Long story short, the wedding is off. James and I are taking our closest family members and friends to a local town hall. We're getting married low-key, just the way we wanted, and we're having a huge party a few weeks later for everyone who wants to celebrate. My sister and Mill are making me a new dress for the ceremony and the party. It's gonna be less traditional. I'm gonna wear a cape and a flower crown instead of a veil, and it isn't happening in a church anymore. Also, my sister got engaged. Thankfully nothing happened to my veil because it was my mother's, but I'm giving it to her regardless. She absolutely loves traditions, so I'm actually really glad that she gets to be the daughter to walk down the aisle wearing our mother's veil. I'm walking myself into the hall and my sister is officiating. I live in a small village where everyone knows everyone, so we have permission to take half an hour to do things how we want in the venue. It's definitely better this way. My sister is a seamstress, so she's making me a beautiful cape and she's helping Mill with my dress. I've seen the concept sketches and I'm so excited. It's everything I loved about my previous dress and more. I don't even know how to thank them. My Phil is getting us a whole pig to spit roast for food, my sister and I are making the cake, and I've already had the reception location booked for over a year, so that's staying the same. The bonus is we're getting married sooner. We hadn't paid for anything but the reception location, the bridesmaid dresses, and the flowers. The location was pretty expensive. It's where his parents got married, so our parents split the cost between them so we could have that location. It's really sentimental and I'm so grateful that they've done that for us. Anyway, back to the problem at hand. James confronted Dan last night. I wasn't there. I was with my parents. He asked what Dan thought of the dress, and Dan immediately asked, is Callie sure she wants to marry you? There are better options. James asked if Dan knew anything about the stain, and Dan couldn't stop laughing. He thought it was hilarious. He thought it was funny that James and I were angry. Apparently it means I'm a low-value female. Supposedly, it was a test to see which I valued more, the dress or the marriage. Obviously I value the marriage more. But because I was upset about the dress, Dan thinks that means I'm more focused on appearances. I don't know everything that happened, but Dan was kicked out of our house. I heard parts of the conversation on the doorbell camera. That's when I heard low-value female. Dan said that James is a loser who was never attractive and never put effort into his body, so he doesn't deserve me. He was livid when he learned that I also don't put effort into my body. My sister eventually took my phone away from me so I wouldn't stress over it because I was watching this all happen on the camera. She then sat me down, fed me chocolate and gin, and we watched Hot Fuzz. My in-laws were informed by James. I wasn't privy to what was said, but I've since received texts from both of them. Mill is humiliated. She has always been Dan's biggest fan. She initially thought it was a mistake, but was shown the literal confession on the camera, and then felt awful. I feel really sorry for her. He was always her little boy who played the sport she loved and did her hometown proud, which is where they still live. She said she was more than happy to pay for the cost of the dress and help my sister make a new one. She made her own wedding dress and it was beautiful, so I'm really excited for this now. I can't accept her offer to pay for it, though. As sore as I am about the price, it wasn't her fault. Phil hates technology, so I was absolutely gobsmacked when I received a text from him. He usually either calls or turns up in person. I think James told him I wasn't ready to talk about this. He said that because of what has happened, he considers me more of a child of Dan. He's disgusted that his own son would do something like this. It's not the way he raised him. He's the worst with technology. He asked me to block Dan's number for him next time I'm round. I won't lie, I shed a few tears. I'm spending Christmas with my parents, and visiting James and his family on the 27th, then staying with them until the 1st. Dan has been cut off by his parents and his brother. He's been uninvited to Christmas and New Year's. Unless he apologizes and puts himself into therapy, his parents won't talk to him. His parents have said they pay for therapy for him, but I don't know how he took that or if it's even happened yet. My parents-in-law offered to pay for security for the wedding, but we've changed the location and the date. Also, we've told almost everyone why. Some people didn't believe us, like some of you haven't, which is understandable. Those who weren't told, were told that a serious event happened and we're concerned about our safety, so we're keeping the event itself minimal. Also, as per my last edit on my previous post, Dan did wee on my flowers in my front garden the other night. He hasn't been back since his conversation with James, but police will be called if he does return and make a scene. I've since saved all of the front door camera footage, and screenshots of text conversations and photos of the dress. Everything is documented and time-stamped. If he decides to try something, it'll be the police dealing with him. I'm also gonna be digging up my flowers and replacing them, likely with catnip or something like that because Hermes deserves nice things. He's always been really chill around bees, so I'm gonna plant some lavender too because we need to save the bees. I will be messaging the women he's in contact with at the moment. I don't know what I'm going to say, but I can't live with the knowledge that someone else could be hurt because of him. If anyone has any advice on what to say, I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, I'm gonna go hug James and Hermes, and eat a lot of chocolate because now I don't have a dress I need to fit into Lamau. I hope you're all having a wonderful Christmas. Lots of love, Callie, James and Hermes, who is still covered in glitter.